Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson, back at it again. Co-host Irv, he's here, ready to roll. We got 4 segments for
Sir.
you all today. We got a good show here on Recap Monday. This is currently Season 7, Episode number 2 on the Fire Sports Pod. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. And we're going to be going over 4 important segments. First up, we're going to be going over my Lakers. We got a massive dub against the Nuggets on Saturday night. The segment is, did the Lakers crack Nikola Jokic? Can now other teams, not just the Lakers, be able to defend Jokic in the kind of way that we were able to shut him down? Or was it just a game that he had a bad game, and will he just come back the next game and torch the shit out of us? We'll see. The second segment, Irv's got this one. We're going to be going over the 76ers as Stephen A. Smith puts out a statement yesterday on TNT saying basically, or ABC, I believe, ABC, saying basically, well, the season's over. This was a absolutely $1 million mistake. They tried to pay Paul George. He has not panned out. Joel Embiid is not panning out. So is this just over? Should he retire? Is this season over? We're going to be going over the facts on that. Third segment, we're going to be going over the NBA's Western Conference and Eastern Conference, how they would match up in a finals matchup, and how the playoffs would go if the NBA playoffs started today. And then we're going to be going over our fourth and final segment with the NFL Combine as Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders, declines to go and throw at the NFL Combine. We'll be go over why that is the reason and why I think he picked the right decision. So let's get right into it. Our first segment on today's podcast is going to be going over the Lakers and have they been able to crack the Nikola Jokic problem that everybody has been trying to figure out for the last 4 or 5 years, and no one seems to have been able to figure it out the way the Lakers did. I mean, the Lakers, ladies and gentlemen, held the Nuggets to only 100 points. They were averaging before the 9 games that they were on a winning streak, they were averaging over 125 points a game. They were held to 100. We also had to go into consideration that Jokic only had 12 points, 10 rebounds, and like 12 assists. He did not play his best ball, only had 7 shot attempts in the game. So that just shows you either he had an off night or he just was getting pummeled. Every time he got to the post, he was getting bumped, he was getting hit, and that over time in a game like that takes a toll on you, especially a guy that's not the best athlete on the planet. He doesn't look like he's well conditioned, of course, because of just the way he's built, but he is in. And that being said, his condition definitely has got to be enough because this guy plays almost all the time and he's always there. He's an MVP of this league. He's the best player on the planet right now for me. Obviously for me, he's not the MVP. I take Shea, but for in player purpose, no one can stop him until Saturday night where the Lakers we went into Denver and everyone picked the Lakers to get smoked. They have the last 13 out of the 14 attempts that they've played against each other. They have gotten smoked. They have been up by over 20 points in games, and they've lost them at the end of the game. So we definitely had bad history coming into this game. The Lakers decided to say, screw that. JJ Redick had a great game plan. A lot of people don't give him credit. The man had one of the best game plans I've seen when it comes to defending Nikola Jokic. And I think that was some crazy ass things, dude. I just did not see this game going to this extent. I thought this game was going to be close. I kept saying to the TV, literally was talking to myself, was like, we all know there's a comeback. We all know they're coming. And they made some stretches. And what Stephen A. Smith said great at the halftime show on that night against the Nuggets is that the fact is, can the Lakers sustain a run by the Nuggets and build off of it, or will they just give up and plummet? And last year and the year before that and the year before that, we have all done that. We have been get up a big lead or a good enough lead, and we have fumbled the lead, and we never were able to get off of the lead and halt their run. They would always just extend it and win the game ultimately. So that's the fact is that I don't understand it. Jokic and the Denver Nuggets are not accustomed to being smothered and being shut down. Their team is not as good as their team was when they won the title, They don't have peripheral shooters all around Jokic and Murray. Aaron Gordon is shooting 42% from three, but we're like, screw it. If you want Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon to shoot your threes, go ahead. We'll live with that. We will be able to just control Jamal Murray enough to make it like he'll score 20, 25, but it's not like he's going to score 55. We're going to hold down the fort against Jokic and make it hard for him to catch the ball. And if he does, he's going to get double teamed and he's going to have to pass out of it. Our switching, our movements were absolutely crisp, and that was able to get us the dub on Saturday night. On top of that, you also have Luka woke up finally. He had 32, 10, and 7. LeBron had 25, looked like he was 25 years old out there. Reeves had over 20. Rui had over 20. Jackson Hayes played great. We had complimentary basketball throughout the entire lineup, from the last man on the bench to the first man off the bench. It was absolutely remarkable to see a team effort, and I think JJ Redick, of all people, deserved the most credit because he was the one and has been the one to get this team back from the horrible way they were coached and the way everything was played last year. Even the beginning of this year, the first 10 to 15 games, even with Anthony Davis, this team was looking much better than they were last year, continuity-wise and just playing-wise. And now with the new revamped team, JJ Redick's had to change everything from the start of the season to now. They have like 6 different players on this team that they didn't have before the trade deadline. So again, kudos to JJ Redick. I think he definitely deserves his flowers for this great game plan against the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. I'm going to say right here, do not sleep on the Lakers, man. The Lakers got a shot at least get into the Western Conference Finals. They have a shot to get there. Now the finals, we'll see. I'm not going to go on a limb here. I'm going to see when we come playoff time, how we ended off the season, how the Lakers play, what's this, that, and the other thing, and then we'll really go from there and how if they have a real good shot of making it to the finals and maybe winning it. They got they got one of the best players in the world in Luka. They still got LeBron James that is still one of the best players in the world. I don't care what anybody says. Man's 40, and he's dunking on people. He's laying the ball up. He's playing great basketball. So we'll see what happens. But I think the Jokic effect, I'm going to be saying that Jokic, it's not going to happen every night. Like, he's going to have his great nights. But in 7-game series, if you can shut him down for 2 to 3 games, you got a shot to win. Sports Talk with Aiden decides to say Thunder's going to be a problem. Yeah, Thunder's going to be a problem for a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a problem, and I don't think the Thunder right now can't be beat. No one's been able to really beat them. So we'll see what happens. I want to play the Thunder. I can't wait for the Lakers to play the Thunder. Now with our revamped team, I want to see how we go up against them. But it's definitely not where the Knicks are. Just to sidetrack a little bit, the Knicks are 0-7 against the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Cavs. So
basically just all like the top
all
5
the top
teams.
So they're horrible against those teams. I want to see how we play. The first good team we've played, we've beaten with Luka, and that's the Denver Nuggets, who are the 3 seed in the West. So I want to see. I want to play the Memphis. I want to play Houston. I want to play the Thunder. And I want to play Boston. I want to play Cleveland, and I want to play who's the third? The Knicks. We already beat the Knicks without Anthony Davis and Luka. So just imagine what we can do with him. So I want to play all these best teams because then we could see how well we do. I'm gonna remember this. We're 1-0 against Denver. Let's see how we play against the rest of the field in the top teams in the West and the East. And then we could go from there to see if they can actually have a legitimate shot at competing this year. But if they don't, then they don't. It is what it is. But we're going to move on to our second segment as Irv is going to let us know what the hell is happening with the 76ers this year, and was the biggest mistake ever for the 76ers to pay Joel Embiid and an extension and all the money that he got after now he just cannot seem like he can even walk or run. Every time he goes to the basket when playing, he's falling on the floor. So I want to see what Irv has and see what's the deal here and really what he can get out of this.
Not so just a good transition to the 76ers situation where all of a sudden now 76ers picked up Paul George. They thought that they were going to get something, You know, a lot of good production. Joel Embiid just coming off of a gold medal with the USA. You know, it seemed like everything was going in the right direction. You know, he had a former MVP in Joel Embiid, just absolutely, he was being a dominant big man. But then now you hear here comes the injuries. Now, the first of all, though, at some point in time in the season, the beginning of the season, Jared McCain was the was the leading scorer at like some point earlier in the season. That's atrocious. A rookie coming in, absolutely stepping up, averaging I think was close to 20 points for like 3 or 4 games straight. He had up to Paul George acknowledging the whole team, guys, listen, Jared McCain cannot be the only person. He cannot be the only guy to come in and step in and really lead this team. So, what exactly happened? They try to step it up. Joel Embiid goes down with an injury. Paul George, injuries. There's even memes going out now that on top of that, that Paul George released more podcast episodes than games played in the NBA. Like that's insane. That's a meme now in the NBA community that he has more podcast P episodes rather than games played in the NBA. So then we also got the quote unquote reigning MVP or the MVP a couple of years ago, Joel Embiid, who's also suffered from injury, but that's because he doesn't take care of his body. So now we go to Stephen A. Smith, where he basically, I think this was today, not
Yesterday.
too sure, yesterday.
Was it on first
That
take?
Yeah, it was on first
Okay,
take.
then that was today.
Yeah. So he basically said, like, first of all, you know how Stephen A. Smith is. He's a very characteristic guy. He legit said, and I quote, America, you don't give a damn about the Sixers, and neither do we. End quote. Because at the end of the day, you know what? The 76ers were relevant back when, when they had Ben Simmons, back when they had JJ Redick, and then, Danny Green and all of them. And then all of a sudden they just start, they were looking for to do something. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals with Kawhi. Well, when they lost to Kawhi and them, like they were really leveling up. And then now all of a sudden, they lose Ben Simmons. JJ Redick leaves, and then now you have Joel Embiid trying to lead this team. He suffers from injury because he doesn't take care of his own body. And then now you have people like Stephen A. Smith really just telling the Sixers, listen, put Joel Embiid to rest. Put Paul George to rest. Rest all these players. Because you know what? Just tank. Because I believe if they are below, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, if they're below, I think 50% or 0.50 of games played, they get the top six in the next
I
draft.
believe so, yes.
So Stephen A. Smith's basically telling the 76ers organization, tank, rest your star players so they could actually be fully healthy for the 2026-27 season. Because this is horrible for the 76ers. They went from being the top contenders in the East, going to Eastern Conference Finals, going competing with the top teams in the East and in the West, to now all of a sudden being in the bottom of the barrel when the East is surprisingly not even that strong. So, the 76ers are blowing money. And let me also hold side note because we're talking about blowing money. Warriors were rumored to have a close agreement with Paul George. And guess what happened? Didn't go through. But if that went through, I would have been one hell of a depressed Warriors fan right now. Because
Huh.
we would have blown so much money on Paul George for injury prone Paul George. Because the 76ers right now, they're losing it. I
Yeah.
believe they spent like what, close to 300 million on
Yeah.
just
In
Joel
the
Embiid and Paul George alone.
mm-hmm.
So I really think, they should tank and try to rebuild for the next couple of seasons. I believe for the next like 3 seasons or so, because this is horrible. This is horrible. This is a horrible look for the 76ers organization. They really need to step it up. I mean, they thought they stepped it up by bringing in Nick Nurse, bringing in Paul George, you know what I mean? But then it just didn't work out at the end of the day. The 76ers are not the team that they used to be. So
Yeah.
I kind of agree, Zach. I don't know if you want to chime in here. What do you think about what Stephen A. Smith said. Like, what is your opinion about all of this 76ers talk?
Well, again, Stephen A. Smith is my guy. See, he says some crazy ass takes where I would have to say disagree with. This is one of those takes that there's no way you could disagree with. The 76ers have backfired big time. They should have never extended Joel Embiid, not knowing how well his knee. He's an idiot. No, all due respect to Joel Embiid, he has some great talent. When he's on the basketball floor and he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the league. But he has not been for a couple years now. They extended him for like 3 years for $210 million. This man played in the Olympics, looked like prime Joel Embiid. All of a sudden, the season starts, he has problems with his knee. If I'm Joel Embiid and I know I have a history of knee problems and injuries, why the hell? I understand. Gold medal. You're not even like American. You're like
like realistically, he's not from America. Yeah.
No, he's supposed to be playing, I believe, with Victor Wembanyama.
In France.
And whatever the case is. So he's not even playing with his actual supposedly country. And he hurts his knee out of nowhere. Season starts. So there was definitely something in that where that's another discussion for another day on why he decided to play in the Olympics. Kawhi Leonard said no. The people said no, let's take a backseat because you are more important to us, the Clippers, than you are to Team USA. And he is now playing. And he's actually looking pretty good back from injury. I can't say the same thing for Joel Embiid. So when your best player, and no shame to him, Tyrese Maxey is a great player. He is not your number one guy. He is not the guy that you're going to be able to take to the promised land. Unless you put Hall of Famers on all these guys around him, he's not. Because he is just him. You need other people. And the fact that Jared McCain, a rookie, was averaging like over 20 a game for the first like 10 to 15 games until he got hurt just shows you how bad Joel Embiid was hurt and playing.
Yeah.
Paul George was hurt and playing. Tyrese Maxey in the beginning of the season was hurt. Came back and he's playing great. McCain gets hurt. Dude, they are a mess. I agree with Stephen A. and I agree with Irv. They should sit all their players. Season's over. They're not coming back from here. There's no reason to get your $300 million guy, Joel Embiid, basically, hurt more because you're trying to make a run at the playoffs where if you do make the play-in, you might lose in the play-in. They're losing to everybody. They could lose to the Hornets. They could lose to the Nets. They could lose to the Trailblazers. Hell, they can lose to the fucking Wizards.
Yeah.
Because
the Wizards is crazy, but yeah.
They almost beat the Bucks, dude. They lost by 3. If Middleton banks that 3 and it's going to overtime. That's what I'm saying. It's like, even the bottom feeders can beat the 76ers. I got to stop saying for my bets and picking the 76ers to win games because every time I pick them, they fuck up my bets and my picks for the week. So I might go 8-1 and the one loss is because I took the 76ers to beat the Nets and the Nets beat them. Like, that's what I'm trying to say is that the 76ers season's over. They should really just tank, try to get a number one top pick because this year's draft is stacked for the NBA. They should try to get a guy. I mean, maybe they can fondue their way into the number one pick and get Cooper Flag. You never know. Who knows? Something like that along those lines if they get into that lottery spot because they only have 20 wins on the season. So they can definitely get to that spot. It just sucks because when they were prime, you had Joel, you had Ben Simmons, you had Jimmy Buckets, you had those 3 guys. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals against Kawhi and the Raptors. And if it wasn't for God's named earth on the Raptors and Kawhi Leonard's size to have the ball bounce from one end of the rim to the other, to the back of the other rim, to the back rim, to the front, then, to be honest, they go to the finals and who knows what happens. So they're playing against the Warriors. You got no KD. You have Joel, Ben Simmons, Jimmy, and if I'm being honest, there's really nobody else. No one can guard Ben Simmons at that point. He was just plowing through everybody. Guy can't shoot a jump shot for his life, and he was still averaging over 20 a game. You have Joel Embiid. You have no pure center back then. Looney is not guarding Joel Embiid. You had Kawhi Leonard throw him across the floor when they played the Raptors in the finals and got him hurt. So there's no way. And then you got Jimmy Buckets too. Well, you're going to put Draymond on him. Okay. and then you got JJ Redick and a bunch of other guys that can shoot the ball, and Danny Green. Like, there was no way that Joel. I would say it would be a tough series for the Warriors to compete against the 76ers if they face them. They just have too much size, and the Warriors back then, without Kevin Durant in that finals, really didn't have that much size. So I would have took the 76ers to take down the Warriors. I'm not even being biased. I just think that's just the matchup that it would have made would have been ridiculous. And maybe we're looking at Joel Embiid having a title, and then we got to ease off on the pressure and all this stuff because he's already got a title. Man's already won. This guy hasn't won shit. He hasn't even won the Eastern Conference Finals. He hasn't even got to the finals. So until he does that and until he wins something, we're going to keep on this narrative that the guy does not take basketball serious enough and he does not take care of his body enough to be able to be on the floor, be helping his team in and time again. So other than that, that's the last I got for me. 76ers bust year. Pain in the ass to be talking about them. It just pisses me off because the guy has a great talent, just doesn't want to take care of his body. Sports talk with Aiden before we transition to our third segment. Embiid will be the Pat Ewing. It's not a bad take there.
It's not. I mean, it's just funny because literally Patrick Ewing was just as dominant as Embiid,
Yeah.
but then just couldn't execute.
Yeah, couldn't win. Couldn't win.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to our third segment as we are going to transition into the NBA's Western and Eastern Conference standings. I know we did one about 2 weeks ago before the All-Star break, going over what we're looking at going into the tiers that I put some teams in. We got Irv back on the podcast, so we're going to be going over each conference and where we think some of these contenders lie inside the Eastern and Western Conference and some sleepers. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen so we can get this rocking and rolling. Hope you guys enjoyed the show so far. If you guys are new to the podcast on TikTok, don't forget to like, share, and follow. If you're new to the YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Share. So let's share the screen, and we're going to be going over the NBA Eastern Western Conference standings so far. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference. Irv, I'm going to let you take it from here, my guy. What do you think are some sleepers or maybe some teams that can compete with the Cavs and Celtics, or do you think it's just a two-man race and these two teams are going to end up playing in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, I don't want to say anything crazy though. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say like, oh yeah, Pistons are gonna be up there in the top 3, top 4. I'm not going to do all of that. Pistons though have been producing really good basketball lately. They've been playing really well. Magic, I know they suffered a bunch of injuries throughout the season. I think they're still without Jalen Suggs, but I can say that the Magic are a sleeper team. I'm not gonna lie. Defensively, once Jalen Suggs comes back, defensively they're going to be up there again in the top. I believe they were top 5, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just another team to consider. We have the Miami Heat as well, sitting at number 8, where they're still trying to rebuild. You know, after that whole Jimmy Butler situation, they're trying to just find it. I mean, I know they recently won, I think their first game or second game with Andrew Wiggins, and you know he's playing a pivotal role there. But who are my top contenders coming out of the East? I'm just sticking with the top 3. Now, Cavs, ever since acquiring Hunter from Atlanta, which I don't know how that trade went through, but ever since acquiring him, he's just been good for them. He's a really good 3-and-D guy. For the Cavs, that already offensively they've just been very dominant. And then on top of that, defensively, they've also been dominant as well. But then you also have the Celtics. Now, the Celtics, probably one of the best all-rounded teams in the NBA, without a doubt. They are all balanced in playmaking and defense and offense and three-point shooting and finishing in the paint. They're just one of the best all-rounded teams in the NBA so far. And then third, we have the Knicks. Now, I know, the Knicks, when it comes to versing, top 5 teams in the league, they're doing really, really bad. But I think that they could still offensively, they could make a run in the playoffs. I think when you combine Karl Anthony Towns' offense with Jalen Brunson's point guard ability, and then you add in Bridges, and then you add in the hustle of Hart, getting the offensive rebounds and everything. In my opinion, the Knicks could make a deep run, but so far I'm gonna stick with the top two. I think the Cavs and the Celtics, they're gonna be at the end of the day coming out in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm saying it now. Don't be surprised if you see the Magic up there. Don't be surprised if you see the Pistons up there. I'm not going to really give it to Pacers or the Bucks. I mean, the Pacers are like up and down in my opinion. I don't really think that they could make such a run in the playoffs. Bucks, I feel like, I mean, they have Dame, they have Giannis, so they could definitely make a deep run with that lineup. But I'm saying it right now, don't Pistons and Magic. I mean, I'm really excited to see how the Pistons are going to be in the playoffs. They might get first round exit, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make a good run. Make a good run there.
All right. So there you got Irv. Who would you got in a matchup between Cavs Celtics? Who would go to the finals?
And if I had to give it to one, I would probably. Wow, this is really tough because the size that each of these teams have is pretty insane. The Cavs got really good size with Mobley and Jared Allen at the front courts, and then you have Hunter there, Garland, and then wow, this is very difficult. It's
Let's
very
go.
difficult because they're all equally matched. I mean, you got Drew Holiday on Garland, and then you have or you could put Drew Holiday on Mitchell, and then you could put White on Garland, and then you could put Jason Tatum with Hunter, or Brown on Hunter, and then Jason Tatum on Mobley, and then Porzingis on Jared Allen. Man, give me the Celtics. I'll take the Celtics. Why not?
All
I'll
right.
go with the Celtics just due to I feel like defensively they're just a little bit better than the Cavs.
All right. I'm gonna go here. I like your upset. I like your picks and whatever the case is. Um, I don't think anybody's beating the Cavs or the Celtics. Just
Mm-hmm.
to put out there. I think the Knicks are the only team that really has a shot. I would say the Knicks and the Bucks. I love the Pistons and the Magic take. I think the Pistons and the Magic next year will be better. Their
Yeah,
injuries, the
definitely.
Magic, they don't look as good as they did last year. Their two best guys were injured for like 30 games. They both can play, but they're not as deep as they were. Their Jalen Suggs is injured. Bunch of their guys that are good and ready to play are injured. I think the
Yeah.
Magic are next year going to be good. Pistons, I love to see the Pistons at the 6th spot, baby. I think they can make it to the 4th spot at the end of the year. I think that
Above 0.50% too.
I
By the
think
way, let me
they're
mention that.
yeah, I think they're that good. They're just that young. They're like
Mm-hmm.
Houston in the West, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
They're gonna be that good, but that young, where they're gonna mess up in the little things, and they're gonna get caught up with the big picture instead of worrying about game in and game out. And that's where I think they're gonna screw up. I think the Bucks, other than the Knicks, I think the only other team that has a shot to take down the Celtics or the Cavs or at least compete are the Bucks. I really think
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, and both of these teams will be on opposites brackets, so we would see Cleveland and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Knicks versus Boston. No, Knicks versus Knicks versus Boston, and I think it's going to be Cavs versus Bucks
Bucks.
to
Yeah.
go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
What
And
a
you never
series
know.
that would be.
And you never know. But for me, I'm taking Cleveland. I love what they got in there. I can't, I even no bias, even though I'm a Lakers fan, no bias. I would go with the Celtics. I think it's Cavs time. I think they make, I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they make the finals.
Okay, but why do you say? Because for me, I say the Celtics only because their matchups in terms of size, they kind of. I mean, obviously you have to
I'm
consider,
taking,
Evan Mobley and Jared Allen they're taller compared to Tatum and
that
Porzingis,
has
but
nothing to do with it. Absolutely
okay,
not. The only
okay,
reason is that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland,
mm,
Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. There's an X factor. That's Hunter. That's going to be the difference. You do not have 5 potential number 1 guys on the Celtics. You have number 1 guys. If you put Jared Allen on the Nets, he was the number 1 guy. You put Evan Mobley on any other team, like any other team, he's the number 1 guy. You put you put Mitchell on a team, like the Jazz.
He's
Garland is the number 1 guy on a team. DeAndre Hunter was the number 3 guy on the Hawks. He is now a number 1 guy, but the number 5 option. He's not the number 1. He's not the 3rd option. He's the 5th option. Mitchell's the 1st. Garland's the 2nd. Mobley's the 3rd. Allen's the 4th. Hunter's the 5. The Celtics, Jrue Holiday. He's a guy. He's not a number 1 guy. He never was. He never will be. He's a number 1 defender. He's not a number 1 guy. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, number 1 guys. Derek White, never a number 1 guy. Porzingis, number 1 guy. Has not been a number 1 guy since his time in the Knicks. And in the time in the Knicks, he couldn't stay more healthy for 50 games or less. And then our next guy, that's Jrue Holiday, that's Jaylen Brown, that's Jason Tatum, Derek White. Yeah, you have 5 number 1 options on the Hawks. You have 3.
So you mean Cavs?
On the Cavs. You have 2 number 1 options on the Celtics. 3. I'll give you Porzingis. 3 number 1.
And then what about the bench?
The bench, I like Cavs bench over. I saw them yesterday against Memphis. I like their bench. They got Max Strus. They got Jerome. They got some dogs over there. Celtics, no doubt. They got a great bench. Pritchard is an X factor off the bench. They got some Komet, the big 7-footer. They got some guys. I just like the Cavs. Their shooting ability, their prowess, I think is going to get after it. It's going 7 games. The reason why is Cleveland's going to have home field advantage if they get the number 1 seed. And you best believe Cleveland ain't losing that game 7. If Boston wants to win that series, they need to win it in 6. If they make it to game 7, Cleveland will win the game. Just the fact that you got Cleveland in a game 7 to go to the NBA Finals, the first time in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Since LeBron.
First time in the Finals since LeBron. I don't remember the last time the Cavs have made it to a Finals without LeBron.
Wow.
I don't think there has been. You got to go back to like the 80s. I don't know if they were that good then. So that's what I'm trying to say is that it's going to
I get that.
I'm going to take the Cavs. I think there are only 2 teams that can maybe upset both Boston and Cleveland, and that's the Knicks and that's the Bucks. There is a potential X factor sleeper in the Pistons, but I don't think they're going to get it because they're too young and they don't have enough to compete with those teams.
Okay.
And not to mention Kuzma on the Bucks. So remember, you didn't say that. That's a big 3 there. Kuzma can play.
It's good. I mean, he could play, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't.
Kuzma was the number 1 option on the Wizards. I get it's the Wizards. I'm just saying, don't sleep on Kuzma. He's a good guy. He can get 18 to 22 a game. That's how good he can be. So there we go. I got Cleveland coming out of the East. He's got Celtics. Now, again, this is just the first couple games after the All-Star break. We're going to do this way back when the playoffs start. Right before the playoffs start, we'll get our picks through. We'll get the bracket through, and we'll see how both of us do. Now we're going to be moving on to the West. And the West is a little bit more concerning because you got everybody.
Heavy hitters.
Anybody. No, literally. You can have the Pelicans take down the Nuggets. This has happened this year. You can have the shitty teams take down the number 3 team, which I don't understand. So I'm going to take the first link here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thunder, Grizzlies, Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets. I think you cut it off there. Those are the 5 teams for me that are in tier. No, my bad. The Thunder on another planet. They're on tier 1 and Mars. We're back on Earth. 2, 3, 4, and 5 are tier 2. Clippers, Timberwolves, Mavericks, Warriors are in tier 3. And then tier 4 is Kings, Suns, Spurs, Trailblazers, Jazz, and Pelicans. They're all together because they all suck. I think the Warriors can get up to the 6th seed. I got them the 6th seed at the end of the season. They're 5-1 with Jimmy Butler. They look great. Jimmy Butler, I don't think, has taken a 3-pointer since he's been with the freaking Warriors, and I think that's great. You don't need it.
Yeah.
Just go to the hole, get those and ones, pass the ball, do what you're supposed to do. Jimmy
Yeah.
Buckets is great for the Warriors. I think I said it from the beginning. I thought Jimmy Butler would be good in the Suns or the Warriors. You were like, no, I don't want the Cancers, and I agree with you with that. But at the same thing, we didn't understand the behind-the-scenes factor with Pat Riley and what he was doing a little bit in Miami. They did the same thing to Dwayne Wade when he wanted out. So best believe it, that has something to do with that. So
Yeah.
I thought the Warriors, it would fit really well because the fact of the matter is he doesn't need the ball. He doesn't. He can keep the ball. Like, in the fact of the matter is, if Steph Curry gets injured or Steph Curry's not on the floor, he's your number one guy. So you finally have a numbered one guy on the team with the best shooter God has ever created in Steph Curry. So I think the Warriors make a run and they get to the 6th spot. I think the Clippers stay at 7. Timberwolves are at 8. Mavericks, I'm going to keep them at 9. Just because of the fact of the matter is, I don't know how healthy Anthony Davis is, and he's going to be out for another 2 weeks, just reported about a couple days ago because of the groin strain. So I'm going to take the Mavericks to have a great year next year. I think their year next year is the year for them to compete for the finals, or at least get to the Western Conference Finals. I just don't believe that they're going to scram out of a 31-27 record to get up to the top seed. And if you are the Mavericks, you stay at the 9 spot, you're going to be versing. Oh, no. Oh, well, they would compete in the play-in tournament. I think they would get kicked out. And even Sports Talk with Aiden just let me know that the Mavericks bigs are going to be injured the rest of the year. Even if they play, they're hurting.
Okay, very true.
I
Very
think the
true.
Mavericks get to the play-in, but I don't think
Very
they
true.
make it. I think if they do make it, it's Kyrie Irving doing his things.
Mhm.
But then what? You're not gonna beat the Warriors. I'm sorry, you're not beating the Warriors. So
No.
I'm gonna
No.
the Mavericks to lose and get to that 9 spot. They don't make the playoffs. I'm gonna have the Warriors at the 8th spot, and I think if the Mavericks can beat the Warriors, let's say in hindsight they beat the Warriors, right? They would have to play the Thunder. They're gonna get smashed. At least if the Warriors play the Thunder, that could be an upset there. That could be a legitimate upset. Legitimately, that could be an upset there. So we'll see. But I got the Warriors at 8. Timberwolves going to be at 7. Wait. Yeah. So no. The Mavericks, the Warriors would be at 6. The Clippers would be at 7. The Timberwolves would be at 8.
8. Yep.
That's how I have it. I think the Timberwolves, they are in the play-in, but I think because of Anthony Edwards and how he plays, I think they get past the play-in tournament. But the Timberwolves against the Thunder, don't sleep. They just played the Thunder really well. That could be an upset brewing. I would be shocked, but that's an upset. This is what I'm saying. From the 8, if you put the Timberwolves at 8, the Clippers at 7, the Warriors at 6, the Rockets at 5, the Lakers at 4, the Nuggets at 3, the Memphis is at 2, and the Thunder's at 1. Any of these teams can beat each other. If I'm being honest, any of these teams can beat each other. Any of these teams. Any of these teams. For me, I'm going to revamp at the end of the season. I think the Lakers get to the 3rd spot.
Okay.
So I think they get to the 3rd spot. I think the Nuggets drop to the 4th. Rockets stay at 5. Memphis is at 2. Thunder's at 1. Warriors are at 6. Clippers are at 7. Timberwolves are at 8. For me, I think there are the Thunder. There is no, best team. I'm sorry. The Thunder is a stratosphere above everybody, but they can be beaten. I like the Thunder. They're going to be at the Western Conference Finals. I think they make it to the Western Conference Finals. Realistically, I can't say the Lakers right now. I got to see more. But the way we played against Denver, I could potentially see Lakers versus Thunder to go to the finals. I could potentially. And that's even with bias, but also on the same thing, understanding how well we played against the Nuggets. And not a lot of teams can play that well against the Nuggets. So, and win. You can play well against the Nuggets and lose. But not a lot of teams play well against the Nuggets and win of late. They've won 9 straight since they played the Lakers. So, I'm going to say on a limb here, I think the Clippers, they are not as good as their record says they are. I don't think they're that good. I think they make it, but I don't think they're that good. The Timberwolves, they're up in the air, but they can upset any of these teams. They have the ability to do it. It's just the fact of the matter is, can Anthony Edwards play Anthony Edwards style of basketball? The Rockets, I think they're like the Pistons. They're young. They'll make it. They have a shot of upsetting teams, but they won't get the job done because of little mistakes. The Lakers, like I said, they have a shot to really compete for the Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets are in there, and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, I don't really like. I don't really like the way John Morant's been playing of late, and I think the Grizzlies are really going to suffer from that. So I would say the top 3 teams for me in the West at the end of the year are going to be the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. The Nuggets
Okay.
might be 4, and the Memphis might be 3, but I think those are the top 3 teams for me. If I had a matchup, I would probably go with Thunder versus Lakers. No. If they stare at the 3 spot, I think it would be Thunder versus Nuggets, Grizzlies versus Lakers to go to the Western Conference Finals. That would be the matchup. So it would be the Thunder at the 1 spot, taking on the Nuggets at the 4 spot. I would have the Grizzlies
Third
at the
spot.
2 spot, taking on. No. I flipped it. This is how at the end of the year. This is
Oh, you have. Oh, yeah. You said you got Lakers at
at the
third. Okay.
3. So then it
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be the 2 seed versus the 3 seed, which I would have Memphis versus the Lakers. I'll have the Lakers beating Memphis. I don't think Memphis is that good. And then I think the Thunder versus the Nuggets, you have a shot. It's either Denver or whatever. Personally, if I'm going on a limb here, dude, I want to see Denver. I want the Lakers to beat Denver finally in a fucking series. And
Yeah, but I don't.
if we lose to them, it is what it is. Again, this is just one talk. It's one game. We don't know what it's going to be for the rest of the year. We'll see how we play. For that year, I don't care who plays us. I just want to play good teams. I want to show other teams and other people that we can actually beat these top teams. But
Okay.
Irv, go and make your picks. And what do you think? And then we'll go to our final segment.
All right. So, like, I just want to touch base on, because in the beginning you started talking about my reaction to Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors, and how I just didn't want it because he was a cancer. He was a toxic guy. Look, I was just saying from what it is. He is not ashamed of expressing how he feels. And the only reason why I am traumatized like this in the first place is because back when Antonio Brown was with us in the Buccaneers, back when he was there with he literally just got up, threw a peace sign, and left. And this is why he was with the Bucks. By the way, Buccaneers is my team for anyone who doesn't know. So I'm taking that situation and I'm taking it like looking at Jimmy Butler, and I'm like, this man is like an Antonio Brown of the league. That if he does not like something, he is not afraid to like he's not afraid to say it. Yeah.
Quick question. I get that. There's a difference between Jimmy and Antonio Brown. One has CTE,
Mm-hmm.
the other one doesn't.
No, but what I'm not saying like they're similar. I'm just saying like when it comes to that, like they're just not, they're just not afraid to say what's on their mind. So, but besides that point, you know, I still liked Jimmy Butler. I still like what he brought to the team. And to be honest, I knew that Steph would get the help that he needed because he will now draw attention because Jimmy's an ISO guy. So once Jimmy has somebody at the post, somebody's gonna have to double Jimmy Butler. And then guess what? That frees up another player who passes to Steph, or that frees up Steph to move around, do what he does best, off ball, makes a shot. So yeah, we're 5-1. I believe the Warriors are gonna probably maybe crack the top 5. I low key got them cracking the top 5. I mean, the Rockets are playing outstanding so far. Lakers with Luka, they are finally figuring it out. I think they're going to be playing really well. So I'm probably going to agree with Zach. I'm going to have them at number 6, but I will not be surprised if they crack top 5. I mean, we're only like 2 games behind 6 through 8. So, we're just going to have to see how the season goes so far as we get closer to the playoffs. Now, like Zach said, the Thunder, absolutely great basketball. They have, just like the Celtics, they have good balance between offense and defense. I do have them going to I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do I really have them going all the way to the finals, to the Western Conference Finals? Because wasn't this didn't this happen last season when they were? I think were they not the first or top three seed, and they
Yeah, the
had
number
them.
one seed. They were the number one seed, and they lost to the
Hmm.
Mavericks.
Exactly. Oh, that was with Luca too. So you know, yeah. So I don't know. Do I really? I mean, they're playing amazing basketball. They are playing amazing basketball. I'm not discrediting that. But do I really see them making a deep run into the playoffs when last year it was the same result? I don't even think they got any new players. If I'm being honest, I mean they got Caruso, but he's been injured, and then they still got the same guys.
They lost Josh Giddey. They
Yeah,
picked up
and they lost Josh
Caruso.
Giddey.
They picked up
Hmm.
Caruso. Caruso's better than Josh Giddey, no doubt.
Right,
Jalen
but
Williams, their rookie guy or second year guy now, has been playing out of his mind and really unlocked.
yeah,
He
really
was
well.
unlocking last year. Their role players are playing much better than
Hmm.
last year. Chet Holmgren is finally now back.
And they have a backup big Isaiah Hartenstein.
And they got Hartenstein, which is a
So
monster
so
pick.
then let me take back what I said. And they do have good key pickups, but will this help them move to the second round? Because this is exactly what happened last year. This is literally what happened last year when they were the number one and they couldn't get past Luca and the Mavs. So I'm not too sure about it. I'm not going to be very confident about it. Grizzlies are number two. I don't know how in the world they're number two. But you know, I mean, props to John Moran, props to the Grizzlies organization for, I guess, just winning games, bro. That's really what they're doing. They're just winning. They're just winning the games that matter. Nuggets. I mean, besides that Lakers game, they've been playing really well. I mean, Jokic has been playing well as well. I mean, despite only shooting seven shots, he did have a triple double, which it's kind of normal. It's kind of normal nowadays. Now, like, oh, he was only held for 7 shots. Oh, but he had a triple double. But you know, it is what it is. Um, Lakers again, like I said before, Luka been playing out of his mind on Saturday, and if he continues to play like that, like Maverick Luka, the Lakers are going to be a big problem. They're gonna basically show that they sacrificed a big defensive anchor for an MVP level player who will lead the Lakers in the future to possibly. I mean, bro, he led the Mavericks to the finals
Yep.
with Kyrie Irving, and now he has LeBron James. If he could do
Oh
that
no,
with
man!
Kyrie, if he could do that with Kyrie and the Mavs supporting cast, imagine what he could do with the best player in NBA history, in LeBron James. Despite him being 40 years old, he's still performing out of his mind.
This guy looks like he's 26.
Exactly. Like, I'm not tweaking, right?
Looks like prime 2018 LeBron again in Cleveland.
Like he's playing out of his mind. So you have him, and
So
then you have Luca.
here's a
Come on,
stat.
man.
Since turning 40, he's averaging 26,
Come on,
8,
man.
and 9, 40%, 40 or more percent from three, and 55% or more from the field.
And look,
I don't
can,
understand.
and NBA analysts have been saying it. Shannon Sharp literally said it himself too, and people are disagreeing with him. They said, "What do you say? OKC,
Oh,
UFC,
oh yeah, OKC,
KFC,
KFC,
Lakers
UFC,
and five."
Lakers at 5.
I mean, listen,
I saw that before we came on today. I was like, yo.
listen. The Thunder, bro, they're a really good team. They got a better supporting cast than they had last year. Do I think Lakers taking in 5? Maybe
Hell no.
not. I probably got them like maybe in 6, possibly 7
No,
games.
I got 7, bro. 7.
But no, because if Luca really plays
Um,
how he played in that series, it could go to 6 games. But I'm not surprised. We're gonna
I would
see it's a
love,
little revenge. It's a little revenge tour for the Thunder.
I would
But
love
besides,
to play
yeah.
Game 6 in LA.
Mm-hmm.
We win and go to the finals. That would be nice. Yo, I'm gonna go on TikTok right after that and be like, "Thank you, Nico Harrison, the general manager for Dallas. Thank you." I'm going to be praying for that
Oh
guy
my
to
goodness.
be the best man ever because he just gave the Lakers another championship and gave
Yeah.
LeBron his 5th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And don't sweat it. If we could get a chip this year, just sweat. Just hold on this one.
I'm listening.
And in the offseason, we gained that big man that we were supposed to get in Mark Williams.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are gonna get Mark Williams
No,
anymore,
no, no,
even
no,
in the
no, 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 no.
offseason.
I'm not saying no, 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 no. Like
Oh, you're saying just a big man like Mark
just
Williams?
like somebody like
Okay.
him, like him. Yo,
Okay.
I don't want to hear nothing, but if we can win it now without that type of a big, who says we
Yeah.
can't win it the next year?
Yep. Absolutely. I can't
LeBron
disagree.
ends
I'm
his
not
career.
gonna
Now,
disagree with
just
you.
now, this hot take here: LeBron ends his career.
Mm-hmm.
Championship, back-to-back championship with the Lakers.
Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
that's what I'm saying. If we can win it, let's say we win it this year,
Okay.
and we get a big man that we were supposedly needing to be able to play against Denver. Now, again, this is the first game. We played against Denver. We beat them. Great. We got to play against the Thunder. We got to see how we match up against big guys that are 7-foot monsters. We'll see. But let's just say we win and get a championship this year.
Yeah.
Next year in the offseason, we get a big. And we come into next year. Luka, a year under LeBron, getting his body right, ready to roll. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Luka next year coming into the season with a
Man,
six-pack.
LeBron's gonna hook up Luca so
Yo,
bad,
6-pack with
man.
abs looking at Luka? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
LeBron is gonna hook up Luca so bad, man. If we could really get into shape,
Oh, my
if
God.
Luca could get into shape,
Not
bro,
in LeBron
that's
shape,
a
but like just being
problem.
able to work with him.
No, but like just to get, bro, because if you really think about it, in my opinion, the top two people that are the best fit so far is LeBron James, and I think I would put Victor up there because Victor, for his height, he's supposed to get a lot of injuries for his height, for all his abilities, but because he stretches, because he takes care of his body, at 7'5", he could do ridiculous things. And he could fall to the ground, roll his ankle, and he could get right back up and just move like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So if Luka could really lead, if Luka could really learn from LeBron and recover his body just like how LeBron is, the Lakers could be dangerous
For a really long time.
for years to come.
After
Do I
LeBron.
think they went back-to-back championships?
I don't think so
Absolutely
either.
not.
I don't think so
But
either. Because the
okay,
West is
yeah.
just going to get better and better. I'm just saying. Just
Mhm.
imagine he's able to win back-to-back.
Yeah.
He ends
Yeah.
his career with 6.
Well, only time will tell.
Only time
Only
will tell,
time
but
will
I don't
tell.
want to hear anything about LeBron and Jordan because if he's able to win 2 championships at 40 and 41, win back-to-back, and he's still and he's not riding the bench or he's not like co-starring and like veteran type of thing, and he's averaging still 20, 25, 30 a game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say Jordan's better than LeBron. Just putting it out there. Just putting
Okay.
it out there. Just
I agree with that. But just to finish up here, I think towards the end of the season, I mean, the Grizzlies, I don't like the Grizzlies being in the top 4. I really don't like that. But you know, they're a few games ahead of all the other teams. So if we're really putting it, let's say that we're just keeping it like this: Thunder at 1, Grizzlies at 2, Nuggets at 3, and Lakers at 4. Lakers and Thunder, that game, from my opinion, will probably go to 7. I'll go with that. And then Nuggets at Grizzlies, Nuggets are probably in 4 or 5. I don't really see them. They're probably giving up probably just one game to the Grizzlies, in my opinion, or maybe none. Who knows? I mean, I don't really see anyone on that team really stopping Jokic. I don't really see anyone, I mean, trying to hold Jamal Murray besides who. I really know anyone. If you could help me out here, Zach.
Aaron Gordon.
Who know that could hold Jokic or
Oh,
Murray from the
well,
Grizzlies? If you could help me out here, because I honestly don't. No player comes to mind that could hold
look,
who. Zach Eid?
no, definitely not.
Like
He did the
like
most.
that's what I'm saying. Like
But you would have to
I
play similar to what the Lakers did. Have a Zach Edey, have a Brandon Clark being able
But do
to
you think?
battle.
But do you think defensively the Grizzlies
It's
and Lakers are the same?
no, but
So then
but
that's why if
it
they
has
try to
nothing.
do that
But it has nothing to
strategy,
do with the players. It has everything to do with the coach. That's
right?
what I'm saying. It has
But
nothing to
but
do with the players.
it could do a coach game plan right? But it also matters about the players.
What I'm saying is, I think that if you put the Grizzlies squad on the Lakers squad with JJ Redick, I think they're still able to stop
I
Jokic.
don't think that's like
Because
saying if
to
you
be
put
honest, the
if you
Lakers don't have a lot of bigs. We have Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, and LeBron James. We don't have a guy that's over 7 foot. They got Zach
Mhm.
Edey, Clark, and they got another guy coming off the bench. You're able to have three of those monsters on Jokic. They are able to have that game plan. They just need to make sure that their coach is able to have that same game plan against Jokic in that situation. Front the big, have a secondary big, help off in the block area to the dunker spot, and being able to shadow a three-pointer specialist in the corner in Aaron Gordon and be able to shadow Jokic at the same time. If they're able to do that and switch and be cohesive, they'll be able to stop him. If not, no. I think it's more about the coach than it is the players. Obviously, you need the players to buy in and be able to do it. I think that Memphis
Yeah,
has.
that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
Memphis has that. I just don't think they have the coach to do it.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
but yeah, for my top four so far, I mean, who I think will come out of the East on number one, I mean, the West on number one will obviously be the Thunder. They're really good this regular season. Top four, I'm gonna just keep it how it is because the Grizzlies are like they're ahead of the rest of the pack and the Nuggets as well. And yeah, that's just who I'm going with so far.
all right. So there you go. I have the Thunder versus the Nuggets, Grizzlies versus Lakers going to the Western Conference Finals. Um, If I'm going to the side of my Lakers, I'm picking the Lakers to get to the finals. If I'm going side of non-biased, probably going to be the Thunder. But again, it's only been the first game. I want to see what these matchups look like at the end of the year. So these are just pre-matchups before our actual picks. So that will be that. We're going to be moving on to our next segment. Errol, what's up, dude? How you doing? We're going to be going on to our next and final segment. Currently, we are 56 minutes into the show. We're going to be going over the NFL Combine. I'm going to be sharing my screen, but Irv, you could start us off with understanding and letting us know what just happened and what's some big news coming out of the Combine with Deion Sanders' son, Shador Sanders.
Yeah, so pretty much Shador Sanders. I'm trying to look for it here. I apologize, but just to be really quick, Shador Sanders is no longer participating in the NFL Combine. He there was an article that ESPN took out that some analysts are criticizing that move. But if you really think about it, you had guys like Jared McDaniels, you had guys like Caleb Williams, you had what's his name? Not Jared man, Drake May. You had Drake May, who are top guys that didn't really participate in the draft combine. So what the big conversation that we're going to talk about, and Zach will probably answer this question for you guys, is is the NFL Combine overrated? Is it overrated? Does the NFL Combine really kind of, I guess, bring out the true player in the setting? Like, is it a bad choice to really say you're not going to work out in the combine, or or would it benefit you? So Zach's going to take control here in the last couple of minutes that we have here, just to basically dive in that.
So yeah, thanks again, Irv. We're just gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say it's really getting to the point where the combine is becoming kind of obsolete. Where the fact of the matter is that some players like it, some players don't. The fact that we're criticizing some players and some players that have not went to the combine have turned out to be one of the best players in the NFL. Obviously, it's known to go to the combine. That's the whole thing. That's the whole get the experience and whatever the case is. But my thing is, how as an analyst you can say, unless you've played the game and now you're an analyst, you can't say shit. I'm sorry, excuse my language. You can't say diddly squat about it because you don't know what it is to
Yeah,
play in the game and to go to the combine and understanding combine is like tryouts. Literally is. If you go to tryouts, let's say, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody in the live can attest to this. I know Irv can attest to this as well, and I can attest to it. When you go to tryouts, what are you trying to do?
you're just trying to try out for the team, pretty much.
Exactly. What is the NFL combine?
It's like a tryout. It's like a tryout.
Tryout. So the point
Yeah.
of the fact of the matter is that If it's a tryout, that's why for me as a coach, I understand. I look into different details about players, not just the way they perform on the basketball court as a coach, what they do off the court, what they do when they talk to their teammates. How do they talk to the team? How do they play? They might have not make any shot, but how do they move the ball? How do they dribble? How do they communicate on the basketball court? Same with football. If you have a bad day at the combine, scouts and NFL coaches could be like, well, he's not there good for the big moment. No, he could just have a bad day. Why is Shedeur Sanders gonna risk having a bad day and have his draft stock drop because he couldn't make a pass, whatever? He got all the film that you need. You can go to Jackson State. You can go to Boulder, Colorado. You can go all back through there. There's your film. Take it or leave it. That's where he was saying. And I agree with him 100%. It is getting to the point where it is kind of a waste of time. Because the fact of the matter is you have all the film you need in a real life game setting. Use that shit. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to have to put my body on the line? If I get hurt running a route, if I get hurt throwing the football, if I get hurt bench pressing, if I get hurt doing the lateral jump, if I get hurt doing the jump straight up and down drill, if I get hurt doing the cone drill, if I get hurt doing the catch, turn, run up the field, then I get screwed. Offensive lineman just tore his ACL last year, came back, came during the combine, came in, did 38 reps of 225 on the bench, then went and got drafted by the Ravens, one of the best offensive linemen with the Ravens now. So he risked his career to go to the combine, get injured, was able to come back from it. The fact that I'm trying to say is that the combine, you have a potential of getting injured or dropping your draft stock either because of injury or because you just didn't play well. You have all the film. Go watch it. I don't need to show you. That's what Shedeur and Dion were basically saying. I got all the film. You could just put on a game and see my shit. I don't need to put on a show for you. And if I am going to do a combine, most players do their combine at their college, in their practice facility, not at the combine. Because they know their wide receivers. They get to pick the people so they know that they can catch the ball. They have the people that they're around them so that they know and trust. Again, at the combine, you're usually using other wide receivers that are trying to make something about it. Most of the time. And if they drop the ball, sometimes that could hurt you because you might put it too out there. A good wide receiver is able to catch that ball. Maybe because you're used to having good wide receivers that are able to catch some significant passes that are not so accurate. Maybe something like that. So you got to take into account. I don't like these analysts just trying to say, well, it's this, well, it's that. Cam Ward, he's going to do the combine. Does not mean that he's better than Shedeur. Sorry, he's not. I don't like his competition that he played in the ACC in Miami versus Shedeur, who's played against top teams, has played against some crazy-ass opponents, has played against some good-ass games. I'm taking Shedeur. Shedeur is the better quarterback to me. I like Shedeur much better. I think Shedeur should go to the Giants. I think Cam Ward ends up somewhere else. That's my personal opinion about the combine. Again, I will throw it back to Irv to let his last thoughts on the combine and see if he agrees with what I'm saying or he disagrees. And then that will be it for the show today.
I mean, when you really do the NFL combine, it's like you said, it's more like a little tryout. But at the same time, it's a risk. It's a risk taker.
It's a risk or a reward. It really is.
It is, because if let's say you're at the bottom of the barrel, let's say you're like, you're gonna get picked in the bottom of the draft. Let's say you have an outstanding combine, you get perfect scores across the board. Your draft combine immediately goes from being on the bottom to maybe close to the mid-table, maybe not first round, like a couple of first rounds, but obviously it's going to be mid-table. So if you're a top guy, because Shedeur is going top 5, he's not going lower than that. Maybe top 6, because I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Shedeur.
They have him 20 overall prospect in this year's draft. I don't believe that.
Shedeur?
The 20th overall prospect, not the pick.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in terms of mock drafts, I've seen him go no less than top 6 because of the Raiders.
Yep.
So Shedeur is really smart for this because he's already in the first round. He's already a top 5, top 6 player. Imagine, like Zach said, he had a bad day.
Or he
What
gets
will
hurt.
happen to him then? Or he gets hurt. What would happen to him then? His draft stock will stop. He'll probably be in the second round, third round, or maybe I'm stretching it, but you guys get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's a risk or reward if you participate in the draft combine. And I feel like, for example, Caleb Williams, he was projected to go number 1 and still went number 1 without doing the combine.
Yeah.
So I really think that if you are confident in your skills, if you are confident and you know that you're going to be projected as a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, you you don't have to do the combine. You really don't. None of these Cam Ward doesn't have to do the combine because he's projected to go top 3 because those are the teams that need a quarterback the most.
Yeah.
So
No doubt.
I definitely agree with Zach. I think it's more of a reward if you're obviously like in the second round, third round, fourth round, and all those
Hmm.
other rounds.
To show
But if
something, to
you're
show your worth.
exactly, but if you're in the first round, by all means, you do not have to participate, especially if you're top 5 in the mock drafts.
Yeah. No, without
So
a doubt.
I definitely agree with you, Zach, 100%.
I appreciate that. All right, well, that will be pretty much it, guys, for the show. We are currently on 1 hour and 6 minutes. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everybody in the TikTok live that stayed in to watch the show and
Yes,
participate in the
sir.
comments. I appreciate that. Sports Talk with Aiden. Shout out to you, my brother. Eddie, shout out to you as well. Thanks for all the shares. Again, guys, this is Recap Monday on Season 7, Episode 2 on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. We're powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday for Season 7, Episode number 3. We will have a special guest on that day. One of my guys that coaches basketball. He'll be on to talk some sports. He's a 49ers fan, so we'll be able to talk some things about that. So we'll be going over some things. We got a great show for you coming Wednesday for Season 7, Episode 3. First Recap Monday on Season 7, Episode 2. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. Our co-host, Irv. We're out. Peace out, guys. Have a great rest of your Monday night.
Peace.